Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Marshulartz here. This video is kind of special, near and dear to my heart, and I just really want to say that thank you to everybody who supported the journey so far, whether they've donated to the Kickstarter, they bought a book, or they just signed up for a membership over on Libento.net. Libento is very near and dear, and it's something I created as a child, and I will get into that later on in this video. But obviously, yeah, here we have the Kickstarter. You can go support the Kickstarter here. Sorry if my audio is a little bit perplexed. I actually need to fix my mic. It's like being all weird. But yeah, you can go support the Kickstarter here. As you can see, we have 16 backers. Our goal is 3,500. We are $807 already pledged the goal. You can see the pre-order. You can go click the video. You can go see the campaign along with all the rewards. And yeah, that is pretty much it. And also, if you do want to catch up to the story, because only the first 4 chapters are in volume 1, if you do want to catch up to the story, you can go see our manga. You can go read the first 8 chapters over on Libento.net. Now, I am going to say there's a lot going on in my life, so chapter 9 will be a little bit delayed by like 10 to 15 days, but I am going to be working on it. Even after this video, I'm going to be working on it, and in a few hours I go to work. But I wanted to make this video just to kind of get into the topic of today. And what I wanted to talk about is kind of like what manga really means to me. Manga is very different Western-wise than it is Eastern-wise, especially in Japan. So if you take account how we consume media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, we consume that stuff at a different rate and at a different speed than other countries. I mean, right now TikTok has the biggest reach and algorithm and stuff like that, but manga really is just about the storytelling and the creation for me. There's a lot of people who they don't actually understand how to create manga. They only know how to draw manga, and that's going to be something that me and my team really touch on as we do our panels coming up, because we do have a couple panels actually coming up, which those will be announced in due time over on the Libento channel. But manga really is near and dear to my heart. Ever since 3rd grade, when I was in 3rd grade, I started drawing Digimon fan comics with my friend. I would do the drawing, he would do the writing, because my writing wasn't super strong. So I would do the drawing, and I fell in love with it at that point. Later fell in love with filming and things like that. That got me to work with a lot of people all around the world and all around my own country. And then I actually got back into filming, or I'm sorry, drawing, and wanting to create Libento when COVID had hit in 2019/2020. And so with the creation of Libento, I really just wanted it to be this toy box of ideas. I really wanted it to be this thing where I can gather people either in my home country or around the world, people who are taking this serious, you know, not just someone who was like, oh, I watch Naruto and I want to create manga now. It's like, yeah, you watch Naruto, yeah, you want to create manga now, but do you actually want to learn or even practice the actual things that go into creating manga? There's a lot of people who don't, because they don't understand. And to be fair, there's not enough places in America where you can actually get that knowledge, which is why I follow a lot of Japanese mangaka, illustrators, and editors. You know, I'm friends with some of them already because I've been talking with them now for 3 or 4 years, to where we send jokes, memes back and forth, stuff like that. And same thing with some of these manga. I'm friends with manga who are in sister publications of Shonen Jump, you know, and it's really yielding a lot of results in terms of knowledge, not in terms of me getting my foot in the door to work with Shonen Jump. I never ever in my entire life want to actually have a story published with these publications in Japan, because I just don't care to. There's no knock against the people who do, and trust me, I know some people who do, but a lot of people think, you know, you can only create manga if it's in Japan, if it's Japanese, if it's this one thing, like it has to come from this one place. And that's not true. There's plenty of international manga competitions. Like if Japan didn't want you to actually have access to all these different, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at this. If Japan didn't want you to have access to this, you know, why is there so many different international manga competitions? And this is just like some of the ones that you can look at. I mean, literally, Japan International Manga Award. Okay, there's a manga award for this, and there are people who come from all over to participate in this. If we go back, there's literally, you know, the Jump Tetsuka manga contest. This happens, and these are people from all overseas. Jump Tetsuka manga. Sorry, my head's in the way. Let me get my head out of the way here. I'll make myself like super tiny. Jump Tetsuka manga contest 100th anniversary overseas department. Overseas department special award winners works on weekly Shonen Jump number 15. Now this is really cool. We've seen people in our community in the manga and or in the manga space win these awards, win these competitions, and what happens? They fizzle out. They feel like they don't get the recognition they deserve, and I think that's stupid. But going back to what manga means to me, it's like I said, it's the whole imagination bit. You know, that's why our motto is to recall imagination one story at a time. That's our full motto with Lumbento. And I really enjoy how we've gone about doing things. Are we the most popular? Are we soaring to be like Shonen Jump or Shueisha or a licensing slash publication company like Viz? No, we're not. If my company makes $50,000 a year, $30,000 a year, I see that as us being successful. If we're able to make one of our stories popular and that takes off, and that be the only story that takes off for quite some time, I see that being possible, whether it's Penguin Boy or another story on the brand. So I just go through and I like to look at everything and say, you know, what really is manga? I look at manga and I break it down contextually down to its base. This is something the other companies do not do in a lot of ways. Now, I'm not saying individuals on the team don't do it, but a lot of people who are wanting to create manga look at the style in which it's drawn and then try to base how good something is going to be based off that. And that's purely stupid. Like, that's the dumbest shit you could ever do. You can't look at an art style and say, oh, this is going to be complete shit. If that's the case, look at One and Mob Psycho. You know, you can look at Shin-Chan. You can look at One Piece. You can look at Yu Yu Hakusho and how very bare it is sometimes. You can look at Shaman King and the art style is way too cartoony. You can look at these other examples, you know, and I will always argue too that manga isn't Japanese inherently in terms of like storytelling. It doesn't have to be based in Japan. You can look at Fullmetal Alchemist and a buttload of other fantasy shows. Now, do they have Japanese elements? Of course, because that's where an artist that's where most of the artists live. So they only know those things. And this is me going down the rabbit hole, but I look at all these things and I've studied this stuff for quite some while to come up with my own interpretation of why I love manga and why I create manga. I don't care if anyone jumps in my comments below and says, what you do isn't manga, you can say it's manga inspired. What I create is manga, and that's something I'll stand by until the day I die. And you can either suck my dick or you can go kiss ass to somebody else, because there's plenty of artists I know who literally will say, oh, you can't draw manga, but then when a Japanese person draws a black person or another person like that, they go kiss ass to that thing, and it's purely retarded. It really is. So where I'm coming from on this is manga means a lot more to me than the people I see around me. And I don't mean my team. Me and my team both view manga as a completely different thing than what most people do. And no, my art isn't the best in the world, but my art is getting better, and I understand the tropes, the little quips that they have. I study Naoki Urasawa. I study Hiro Mashima. I definitely study Oda. And I recently began doing these practices where I trace Oda's pages, just like what they do in Japan, to see his understanding and how he not develops his characters, but develops his panels, his compositions. And I have learned so much. And like literally, shout out to my team, man, because I had them do an in-depth review on my manga, which I've never really gotten from a lot of people. There's only one other person, that's Zon the One, who's gone through and told me, hey, you know, you should do this, or you should do this, or you should do this. So shout out to him as well, because he did it before anybody else. Not even the closest people I know have really done that for me. But me and my team have gone through and looked at my artwork, and I've told them to, you know, shred it apart and tear it apart, because I realize I can't get better without people actually giving me critique. And some of these people give fake-ass reviews and fake-ass critiques, and I don't want that. I want people to give me the real. I want people to give me something good. Now, if you give me a critique and I'm not asking for it, depending on who you are, I might brush it off. But they gave me a good enough critique to where I was able to look at myself and realize that I need to learn. And I'm at the point where I can do visual training plus drawing practice and then tracing as well to get a full understanding and scope, not only of my skills, of my details, and but of how to actually put my compositions or make my compositions better. Now I have a film background that also plays a very good part. So my compositions are mostly there, but they're missing depth and a few other things that I deem could be better and will be better as I continue to practice, trace, and learn these different art styles from these key artists that I'm practicing from. But just to give you some final words, because I know this video has been going on for like 10 minutes. Manga to me means a lot more than just what the picture looks like. There's storytelling, there's camera layout or camera setup, there's composition, there's color in some cases. There is how you actually do and perform your speed lines. Do you know perspective well enough? Can you fake or lie with your anatomy to sell a scene? A lot of people in America have to see things as perfection or have to see things as realistic, and the more realistic you can make something look, then the better it is. And that's not everybody in America, but that's a lot of people who are seeing the surface level of what manga actually is. It's so much more than a cool sword attack or a cool attack or yeah, it's just a lot. But manga to me is bringing the imagination back and making that person feel something, making them feel entertained above all else. But that's going to do it for this video. You guys let me know what's up down below in the comments. Do you think, like, what does manga feel like to you? And I'll leave it at that. Peace.